Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel for learning HTML, undergoing our HTML series on to Learn with Ferrari. So in today's video, we are going to go ahead and understand what are different types of headings that we have in HTML and how to use different tags such as block quote, code, and superscript and the subscript tags. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead, create a new file by clicking onto file, say as day3.html, save this file, and please remember VS Code comes up with an automated process of writing the basic HTML structure. I'm just gonna press an exclamation mark as in shift and the first key and then press enter. It is gonna help me to get my basic structure in place. So here I am gonna go ahead and first change the title saying headings and quotations. So first let us understand what are different types of heading tags that we have in HTML. Now heading is a very important part in order for structuring your web page. Usually the search engine optimizations try to optimize the pages with the help of your heading tags or with the help of the headings. So always make sure to use appropriate heading tags for your appropriate usages. In a way, H1 is identified as a main heading tag wherein it is always given in as big as possible and with a bold glimpse at the same time. So make sure to use H1 if anything is there that you have to represent it as a main content. Moving on to H2 could be identified as a sub-content and H3 and so on. So H1 as in the most important thing that needs to be highlighted, wherein H2 should be the less important ones and H3, H4, H5 and H6 and so on. So let us take a look on how each of them looks like. So I'm just going to give in as H1 when I have the ending tag as /H1, which I'm going to give in as heading 1. Again, gonna copy this and paste it at the bottom for 6 times. I'm just gonna change the names here, which is H2 as the starting tag, H2 as the ending tag, H3, H3, and there we go as H4, H4, H5, and the last one as H6. If you notice here, we have defined 6 different types of heading. Once I go ahead and save this particular file and then try to go ahead and run this file, definitely we can run it in 2 different ways. Clicking directly on this particular icon on the left hand side or clicking on this 3 dots, which is giving us the option to run this file. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this particular file to see our output screen, and our output screen looks something like this. Alright, so as you can notice, our output screen has something which is called as headings and quotations shared as the title of the document. Then if you notice, the first heading is the largest heading, followed by the second heading, which is smaller than the first one. Again, heading 3 is smaller than the second one, heading 4 is smaller than the first 3, and so on until heading 6. Heading 6 is the smallest out of this all 6 headings, if you can notice here. So please make sure to use correct heading tags highlighting the correct content format. So if your content has to be displayed as a main content, you have to use it as heading 1 or H1 tag. But if you have certain less important contents, please identify an appropriate heading tag that needs to be utilized in your HTML document. Alright, let us go ahead and get back to our another set of tag, which is for understanding our block quote or quotations. So if I'm interested to write a code, which normally if I want to write it as a text, I'll be using a P tag. But if I want to understand this as, let me write a code that I did my best and God did the rest. For instance, if this is a piece of code that I want to go ahead and display on my output screen, I'll save this and I'll go ahead onto my browser screen to see if there are any changes or how my text is displayed. If you notice, the text is displayed in a pretty normalized format. It's not displayed as a quote or something which is given in a double inverted commas. So let me go back and write this as a block quote using a tag called as block quote. So instead of p tag, I'll just remove a p tag and say block quote and give the ending tag again as block quote. If I save this, observe the change in the browser. The block code change gave some enhancement to the code which is shown onto our browser screen, wherein the sentence is indented a little bit from the margin. So that's how the block code works. But if you want to go ahead and put up the inverted commas around this particular sentence, what we can do is we can go ahead and go back to our code. We can always use something which is called as a quotation or a Q tag, which could be looked up like this. So I'm just going to change this to a Q tag, this as well to a Q tag. And if I save this, let's go back and go to the browser screen, refresh the browser screen. And if you can notice this is how it is going to look like by giving double inverted commas before and after the sentence is finished. Please remember, it is a good practice to go ahead and cite the website from where this particular quotation has been taken on. So in order for you to go ahead and cite this out, it comes up with the block quote wherein it has another parameter called as cite, which can be given a particular website or a reference to the browser from where you got this particular line of information. So if I want to go ahead and display from where did I get this, I'll go ahead and write this particular thing out here. From where did I get this? I got it from this particular website just for the browser as a reference. If I save this, this is not going to be displayed anyway on the browser, but it's just for better indexing of your particular web page. So this is the usage of block quote and Q tags, or you can say it as a quotation tag. Now, many a times you have noticed something which we call it as H, then 2 is going to be written at the bottom, and then you have O, which is the chemical formula of water, or sometimes if you have to see as H2SO4, which is nothing but sulfuric acid. So let us go ahead and create similar type of informations. So for that, I'm just going to be using something called as SUP, which is superscript, and SUB, which is subscript. So let us go ahead and write that out. So I'm just going to use a p tag first, and I'm going to write H. Then I'm going to be using SUB, which is subscript, and then I'm going to write 2, come outside, and then write O. And now if I save this particular file and I go back to my browser screen, let us go ahead and check out how does it look like. So if you can notice, this is how an exact H2O is displayed onto the screen, which is how we want it. Now, if I want to put up 2 on the top of H, making it look like H square O, let me go back to my code and change something here. So instead of a subscript, which is SUB, I'm going to use a superscript, which is SUP, making this look like a square on top of H. So I'm going to save this, go back to my browser screen, refresh the screen to see another information, which is H square O. Please notice SUB, which is the subscript, is used for displaying 2 at the bottom. And if it is a superscript, which is SUP, it is displaying 2 on top of a particular character. Please make sure to utilize these tags wisely. And in the next video, we are going to go ahead and look over to ordered and unordered lists. So until then, stay tuned and happy coding.